A long time ago, I raised a son to know his Joffrey from his Joker.
Now we're turning our arguments into content. This is I Am Your Father, where Gen X meets Gen Z in hyperspace. Boom.
Hello, Junior.
How's it going?
It's going all right.
Don't call me that, Dad.
You know, I may look like all bones, but it is hot in here, man.
I know. I mean, I'm wearing a jacket in Vegas right now. So the things we sacrifice for this pod.
This particular onesie, I think could survive a polar vortex or some nonsense. You know, it's thick. It's thick. There's no doubt.
We're just going to see you turn redder and redder as we go. Exactly. What's going on with you? It's been another week, another podcast. We're continuing to do the Lord's work for our listeners. You know. Yeah, not quite a week though. We're recording rather early this time, so we're gonna do one of our mini episodes, if you will. Probably still about an hour, but we're omitting the 10 and 20 and homework this week because we haven't had a chance to do either of those yet. Yeah. So it's a little early, which means I've had less time. I've just mostly been working, getting back into the swing of things, getting over that sickness I mentioned last week. How about you?
Yep. Yeah, same work. Had a good weekend. Your youngest sister turned 17 over the weekend, which was great. Nice. We went and did a little car shopping for her. She got herself a new old vehicle. Yeah, and things. It's been a good weekend, and it was great to celebrate with her.
You say old, but it's a 2020. That's not that old.
No. It's we got a good deal on it. We found a good car. I'm happy for her, and So that was the weekend. Was just celebrating your baby sister.
Yeah,
and
I got to watch Return of the King yesterday. That's one of my favorite things to do. So maybe
you just decided to watch it for the 450th time.
Well, we watched the first two before we left on vacation, and so I was like, we can't end on my favorite one, So got to finish strong. Got to get all emotional,
I was just having a conversation with someone, and I said that I was identifying the fact that I think that the Lord of the Rings franchise is far and away your favorite. That it manages to top out Star Wars and MCU and Harry Potter and all those. It's the GOAT for you, and the person I was talking to said rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean
they agreed with your choice.
Sounds like they have great taste. I mean, nothing really compares in terms of the care that was put into the making of the films. Like you could just watch like 24 hours worth, if not longer, of documentary on how they made these films and just be nothing but impressed the whole time. Like these people cared the whole time, which is really, really awesome. It's part of why it translates so well, and why to this day a lot of most people would have it as their number one trilogy of all time. So I love those movies.
It's a great trilogy. There's no doubt. I love them too. Listen, we have an episode for everyone that's kind of been requested. Yeah. And so we're diving in. This is going to be our Villains Part 2 episode, and that's only because we got a lot of feedback from listeners that we had left so many of their favorite villains off the list. We felt like our list was pretty good, but in hindsight, it's a really tough list to put together. There's some amazing television and film villains out there. So
there's no perfect
we're going to come at this again, and we're going to do a second draft, and see where we land.
Basically a continuation, right? Yeah, we had to mute the thousands and thousands of comments we were getting. The feedback was very vast, so we just said, you know what, we're going to give the people what they want. Villains Part 2. Yeah,
it was 1,000. I wrote it down wrong. At first, I thought it was just one comment, but then I realized it was 1,000.
You forgot a few zeros. Yeah. Did you swipe right to see the rest of the number?
Yeah. That's right. No, we definitely had a lot of comments on this. So we're going to go draft style again, a quick snake draft, and for those of you fantasy football fans, we apologize. We did keep calling them rounds when we really meant picks.
Yeah.
But So we're going to go through picks again. This time you get to go first, and then I'll go picks 2 and 3, and we'll snake draft our way back around to get to another 10. I'll do some secretarial work here and secretarial work.
Yeah.
And get us to complete this list, and we'll see. Without revealing any of your picks, after the villains episode, did you have any big regrets, or were you rightfully shamed into realizing just how poorly you'd performed against the master?
I got to be honest. I can admit when I have potentially lost, I think my list came out a little weaker ultimately. I mean, you did have first pick. I got to give you that. I also ultimately underestimated some of your picks, thinking that I was going to get them. So you kind of screwed me a little bit there. There were a few comments that brought up some villains that I hadn't even thought of, and was like, ooh, like I actually need that villain on my list,
Yeah.
So I think I got some great choices. I think I have at least 1 or 2 that you haven't even thought of.
Oh,
that's my prediction. I'm hoping.
Interesting.
And I think we got some good stuff. Should I recap real quick where we're at?
Yeah. Go ahead and recap our first 10 that we put in.
Yeah. So our first 10, in the 1 slot, you went and took the King, Vader. No arguments there. If it wasn't the first pick, I think the rest of our list would be invalidated pretty quickly.
No doubt. No doubt.
I followed up with maybe the only contender being the Joker, specifically Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight. Obviously, phenomenal and iconic. Then I took Negan, a little bit of a surprise pick. You kind of crapped on it, but I'll stand by this. I think Negan's one of the most charismatic, likable, and hateable villains out there, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan brings a lot to that role.
No doubt. I can see him in our top 10. I don't know if I see him in the 3rd spot, but I hear you.
That's fair. I like going at it a little unorthodox sometimes, I have to. I got a little chaotic energy. You followed up with...
it's genetic, my son.
Yeah. My brain, a little all over the place. Hard to focus it down. But you followed up with, man, something I didn't think you were going to take yet, and this one really hurt me. Walter White is maybe the greatest television villain of all time. So you started off with Vader and Walter White, a.k.a. Heisenberg. Those are some heavy hitters. If you have watched Breaking Bad and not come to the conclusion that he was the villain, you need to rewatch because he's pretty evil.
Yeah.
Then you took Michael Corleone, the Godfather. Another great pick. Not as good as I think you thought it was, but to each their own.
How dare you?
How dare you? I followed up with another surprise. I have gotten both praise and hate for this pick. It was nothing if not controversial.
Yes, you have.
And I took Davy Jones. I'll stand by that pick as well. I think he's a great pick. Some of the older folk, like you and my uncle, think it's crap. I'm standing on business. It's not clocking to you. Davy Jones, great villain, great pick. I already explained why. We don't need to really get into it again.
Great villain, not top 10.
I disagree, but it's okay. Then you took Snape. Or actually, we'll go there first. You took Snape, though I had one pick before then that I forgot to mention. You took Severus Snape from Harry Potter, played by Alan Rickman. Great pick. Even though he kind of ultimately turns out to be somewhat of a hero, I think you can
that was my controversial one.
Yeah. But
that's the one I've second guessed the most afterwards.
But he's definitely played as a villain. Like, he's seen as a villain through Harry's eyes for the majority of the franchise. And you could even argue that maybe he wasn't actually a hero and he was more selfish than anything. So I don't think it's as bad as a pick as you think it is. I went ahead and took King Joffrey. Another somewhat controversial pick. I've been told many times that, yes, he's horrible and he's evil, but he's not a villain because other people were kind of puppeteering him a little bit. And I get it, but ultimately, it was the words out of his mouth that ultimately killed Ned Stark. It was the words out of his mouth that did a lot of damage. He was very abusive, very evil, sick and twisted. So I think I'll stand by that one as well. Then you, in your number 9, took Thanos. This one also hurt. I didn't think you were going to take Thanos. I thought you were going to overlook the superhero genre, at least the MCU.
Yeah.
And And I got to be honest, there aren't too many villains who can go bar for bar with Thanos. Every line out of his mouth is a movie maker. You know, he's phenomenal, and that one did hurt. And
I was playing you like a fiddle at this point.
You played me like a fiddle. They called you a madman. And ultimately, in number 10, I took a Disney villain, probably the best Disney villain in my opinion, Scar. I have gotten some appreciation for this. Although you told me bad pick, you said, "Oh, Jafar," and you got some hate for that because Jafar is not nearly as sinister as Scar. So you have Vader, Walter White, the Godfather, Severus Snape, and Thanos. I have the Joker, Negan, Davy Jones, King Joffrey, and Scar. That's where we're at right now. You and I are each going to take 5 more, correct?
5 more. This will round out our list to 20. And while putting together my list of potential drafts, I have to say I have way more than 5 on my list.
Oh yeah,
and
me too.
So this is going to be hopefully I have enough to cover anybody you might beat me to. But I like my list. There's a couple that I'm looking at that I'm like, gosh, I should have had this in my first list for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Just blew it.
I'm pretty happy I have first pick. I'm going to be honest, because I think there's one of these that if I don't take them quick, there's a great chance you do, especially considering you get 2 picks right after me.
Yeah.
So I'll just start us off. You cool with that?
Okay. All right. Let's go. What's number 11 on our list?
So how would I say this? I would call this my 6th pick, or it would be, the 11th pick in the 6th round.
Or it's just your first, or we can just say it's your first pick in the second round. I don't know.
We got to get our vocabulary down here.
This is villains. This is villains volume 2 or round 2. So let's just call it your first pick in the second round. And this is all one round.
So the entirety of this is the second round.
Yeah. I mean, I realize that someone who plays a lot of fantasy sports is going to be annoyed with this, but I don't really care. So let's just keep it simple.
So I'll say my first pick in the second round, 11th pick overall.
Fair enough.
Right.
Fair enough.
If you're confused, sorry.
So are we. Yeah.
So are we. If you're confused, we understand. All right. Well, in my first pick of the second round, 11th overall of the villain draft, I'm going to take John Doe from 7.
Yeah.
I think this is a really great pick. I can't believe it didn't cross my mind originally. Had it, he would have been on my list because and here's what's worse is that 7 is one of my favorite movies. Like I could have it up there in the top 10, I think, of favorite movies.
Sure. For sure.
And the fact that I didn't think this is I'm rather ashamed, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm just right off the bat, I'm going to say spoiler alert for 7, directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and Kevin Spacey. Spoiler alert, because it's been out for a while and I kind of have to go into why he is just the worst. And it really ultimately comes down to the ending. But real quick, I'll just say, he basically is a serial killer who is killing people, representing the 7 deadly sins. So most of these kills are some of the most brutal I've seen in anything ever. It's actually hard to watch. I love this movie so much. I want to show it to my wife, but I just know that it's too intense. Just simply the way that the kills are done.
Yeah.
It's hard to get through. So already he is putting people in almost like Saw-like traps and situations where they are, forced to eat until they die, or a bunch of other things, tied down, starved to death. There's a whole bunch of really rough things, and what ultimately is the hardest is seeing how these people turned out, like the extreme levels of torture, both psychological and physical, that these people went through because of John Doe.
Mind what's in the box?
And that's what I'm getting to. Maybe one of the most iconic endings to a movie ever. Definitely one of the most gut-wrenching. By the end of the movie, we have been revealed that John Doe is Kevin Spacey. He's doing his whole thing. He takes Brad Pitt. What are their names? It's like Miles and
Mills and Somerset.
Mills and Somerset, taken out into the desert, and ultimately, he reveals, or a package arrives for them in the middle of the desert. It's this huge thing. And he says to Mills, he starts talking about his wife to him. He starts talking about his wife, like how he laid in bed with her, all these different things, how she begged for her life. And we realized that at a certain point, he'd visited Mills's wife. They just moved here. They're falling in love even more. And then he ultimately reveals to him that she was pregnant. And this is something that really hits hard as the audience. We had no idea. And there's this amazing line by Brad Pitt, who's doing, I think, some of his best acting, just facial acting in this scene. He says, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" And he's pointing the gun at him, and he's realizing what's probably going to be in this box. And it's just this, like, if your stomach doesn't fall out of your butt during this scene, I don't know what's happening. So ultimately, spoiler alert, it's a head. It's her head in the box. He killed her, and he ultimately baited Mills into killing him, completing the 7th deadly sin. And it's really crazy stuff. It's an incredible ending to a movie, but seriously, one of the most heartbreaking and unjust killings to happen in a movie. She was completely innocent. You didn't see it coming. She just got caught in this game that nobody deserved to be in anyways, but especially not her. And what's in the box solidifies John Doe as one of the most evil and one of the greatest villains, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the way that it's set up is also really makes it a sort of classic reveal. I think it's one of the best character introductions. We've been chasing him this entire movie. He does choose. He chooses to be caught. He turns himself in to complete his masterpiece of murder. And so there's no karmic satisfaction of the police actually catching him in any way. And the reveal about Tracy, the wife, being the 6th victim, is it's so painful, but it also is foreshadowed in a way that is pretty cool. Like Brad Pitt mentions his wife like 4 times in the last couple scenes, and it's just so heartbreaking, the whole thing. Yeah, great pick. I'm annoyed that you grabbed it. It was high up on my list, and but I had a feeling you might go after this. But yeah, high up on my list.
All right, well, I had to take it. He's horrible. Yeah. He's menacing, and it's a great, super unsettling performance as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you've given me a nice opening to really kind of take this back from you after that John Doe, a really great John Doe pick. But I'm going to go with my first pick of the second round, Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards.
Damn it, dude! I knew you were going to take it. I knew I was having to sacrifice him for John Doe.
Yeah. There's very few villains in movie history that have quite such an iconic introduction that are quite so evil that you almost want to like them, but you're also scared to death of them. That opening sequence at the dairy farm with the family, we've talked about it in the past in our Tarantino episode, but it's just so insanely tense the entire time. How he's just toying with this man, and he's just slowly but surely bringing out the information to that he already knows. And he could have easily just sent his soldiers in, burst in, and done his business, but no, he's going to play cat and mouse. He's playing with his food the whole time, and it's incredible. And as the film progresses, he continues to prove to be a painfully evil villain. Yeah, I think it's Tarantino's best villain ever. I think that it is. It's a career-defining performance for Christoph Waltz, and I think I'm a little ashamed that it's not on my first list in round 1. But I think that I'm really glad to be able to make it up right now and grab it.
I believe when we recorded the first time, I had you take your headphones off, and I predicted that you were going to pick him. and I was wrong.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I'm not surprised you took him here. And you know what's really great about what you said is that he was kind of just playing with his food at the beginning. Like he knew, right? And that carries on through the whole movie, where you're now always asking yourself every time he's on screen, does he know? Like, does he know what's happening right now? Or is he just messing around? Or is he oblivious? And it seems to me, I always interpret it as he knows. And he's just always playing. And I think something that adds to his character also is eventually he turns against his nation in the end.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So he's just playing for himself alone, his own pleasure, his own success.
He's essentially evil for the sake of evilness. He has no actual loyalty, even to this evil regime. He has no loyalty to it. In fact, he in many ways, based on some of the lines, he despises the Nazi regime. He despises Hitler. He has no nationalistic affiliation with, or he has an affiliation, but he doesn't have a nationalistic loyalty to them in any way. And as soon as it's to his benefit to switch sides, he's more than willing to do that. So I think it just makes him all the more evil.
No other villain is as menacing when he orders a glass of milk. I'll just say that.
Oh yeah,
the glass of milk later on is insane.
I mean, and he does the same thing later on with the dessert, of which I'm forgetting the name of, but when he wants the cream added to it.
But then he orders a glass of milk at that table. That's the scene I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, he asks for the glass of milk in the first scene too.
Right, but when he asks for it the second time, and you're like, oh crap, he knows. Like he knows. It's horrible. It's horrible.
He knows.
Great pick. Yeah. Great pick. I have to give it to you. I wanted it. Didn't think I'd get him, but I wanted him.
Good. I think it's right in there with John Doe and a lot of the other ones on the first half of the list. All right, I get one more.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be disappointed that I'm taking this too. I know I'm snaking here.
Please don't.
I'm gonna go with Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's on my list. He wasn't at the top, but I'll give it to you. Great pick.
Oh man, he needs to be, man. Like this guy is just like this killing machine. He's like a great white shark, you know.
He's like a force of nature.
Yeah, he's just always moving forward. He has no sense whatsoever of morality or humanity. It's just, kill, complete the mission. It's brutal, and I think that it's if not Javier Bardem's best performance, it's one of his best performances. And this is a guy who can play any kind of part. He can play for comedy, he can play drama, and he has played some pretty great villains between this and the villain he plays in Skyfall. I mean, this is a guy who knows how to scare you. That crazy bowl cut, the weapon of choice that he has, this like cow prod thing or whatever it is that they use to like essentially euthanize cattle. That's what he's like going around like killing people with.
Right.
And it's just brutal. And the whole thing he does with the flipping the coin, he's a pretty amazing villain, and he steals that movie. He makes that movie in a lot of ways, and I think it's one of the Coen brothers' best. It's one of the best movies of the decade there that it came out, and I think it's exactly the right movie for me to have on my list now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great pick. I think I said it really well. Like, just force of nature. He's almost like a Terminator. He just doesn't stop. He kind of moves at the same pace also the whole time. Like he's just kind of always walking towards you. Almost like it's like one of those horror characters like Jason or Freddy Krueger or somebody, like just always walking. Like that's this guy.
Even when injured, the couple times he gets like severely injured, he just continues
all the way down his leg, still walking. Yeah. Great pick. Got to give it to you.
Yeah.
This is tough. This is tough for me
because time for you again. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a great choice here. I have a really good option, but I don't think that you thought of it. So I'm wondering if I can get away with holding off. I
see you're gonna. This kind of gambling is what cost you round one.
It's true. It hurt me. You're absolutely right. All right.
What do you got? What do you got for me?
I got two picks. So, my second pick in the second round, but 14th pick overall, the 14th villain I'm picking is going to be Amy Dunn from Gone Girl.
Oh, very good pick. Dang.
I didn't think you saw it coming. I bet she wasn't on your list. But
she was not on my list. She should have been, though. That's a good pick.
She should have been.
That's a good pick.
I think she's a great choice when it comes to essentially the epitome of evil. She essentially is evil because she's bored and wants to feel some sense of power. I mean,
yeah, for those of playing with your food.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to have to spoil the movie a little bit here. If you haven't seen Gone Girl, spoilers now, because this is basically the plot of the movie.
Summarize.
I'm going to, don't worry. Ultimately, her husband is blamed for her death because he left the house, he came back, and it appeared that there had been a break-in, and she was missing. But as the police investigated, every single thing seemed to point towards him. There was evidence in the house that he could not explain, all pointing towards him. And we as the audience aren't super sure if he did it, and we just don't know. We think he might be guilty because everything's pointing to that direction. And he's also not a great guy. He was unfaithful to his wife. He was not a good husband.
Yep.
A little bit of a sleazeball. But what ultimately is revealed is that she set all of this up mostly because she could. She hated him for, like, almost making her go domestic. Like, she felt that she was great and that he dragged her down. And so her solution to this, send him to prison for the rest of his life and publicly assassinate him. Make everybody think that he murdered his wife. And I'm not going to get into all of it, but it goes so much deeper than that. Like, the layers and the things that she went through to make this happen are just bonkers, hard to believe, insane. And she doesn't only do it to him. She does it to other characters in the movie as well. And so go watch this movie. I kind of just gave you the plot, but she's horrible. And by the end, she spins the whole thing to fit her agenda again and basically forces him into this relationship. Otherwise, he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life. And you said talk about playing with your food. I said she's doing it because she can. She has to, like, be the one in power. It's like a weird power dynamic. The book literally ends with the husband's chapter, like, explaining what's happened since. But the last chapter is actually from her point of view, and it's basically all she says is, I just felt I deserved the last word. And then the book ends. Like, adding nothing, but she had to have the last word. Like, this is the villain, completely evil, maybe epitome of evil. She just did it because she could. She destroyed lives, and on the most personal and horrendous level I think possible.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, this is a book villain that I think is even better than the movie version, but in other ways, Fincher's adaptation of this book is in other ways better than the book itself. So it's kind of one of those things where there's a little bit that works more and a little bit that doesn't quite work as well, similar to what we talked about at certain times in the Harry Potter series. Amy Dunn, a sleeper pick. I didn't see it coming, but I do have to applaud your choice. That was a really savvy pick.
I know.
Is that our first female on the list? It is.
It is the first female on the list.
Yep. And there's some amazing female villains out there, but this is a really great addition, and a slightly unconventional choice, but a really good one. All right, good job. I like Amy Dunn in this spot.
Yeah, I just had to show everybody I've got ball knowledge. Had to let them know. I know what I'm talking about. I got 15 also, or 15th overall villain, my third pick of the round. And, I think I'm going to have to go to my comic book roots. I'm a comic book nerd at heart, grew up on superheroes and supervillains. Okay. And I think for 15, I'm going to have to take Magneto. Now, here's my question for you. Can I just take him in live action, considering it's supposed to be the same character all the way through, or do I have to pick an actor?
No, I know with Joker, we specifically identified Ledger's Joker, but I think at least in the way that they tied everything together between Days of Future Past, I think it's acceptable to just choose the character and allow both performances, McKellum and Fassbender, to kind of be one.
Because they're not different interpretations or like different universes. It's the same character played by two different actors, one younger and one older.
Yeah.
And mind you, I think they're both phenomenal. I think Michael Fassbender's casting as Magneto is one of my favorite castings in any comic book movie out there. I think he was perfectly cast following Ian McKellen, who was also perfectly cast.
Ian McKellen was so good in that role.
And I think part of what makes Magneto so incredible as a villain is the fact that most of the time you kind of feel that he's right. That there's this butting of heads that happens between him and Charles Xavier, and ultimately the main difference between them is that Magneto doesn't take the high road. He just refuses to be the better man, and he's more of the opinion of strike first, and so they can't hurt you, right? And so he obviously has an extremely tragic backstory, very valid reasons for not trusting the humans who have only ever come after him and his kind, in more ways than one. And at the end of the day, you can get behind what he's fighting for. He's not a Joker who's just evil and chaotic for no reason, or a Joffrey, or even some of these other characters. You understand where he's coming from. You get it. And him and Charles are kind of just two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
And so I think Magneto is a no-brainer to be on this list.
I mean, in so many ways, both the original Singer film and then the Days of Future Past film, like First Class, I mean.
Yeah.
In so many ways, they set up Magneto almost as the protagonist.
He has the first scene of each movie.
They give us his They give us his backstory before they give us anything else. Magneto's backstory is the most important thing it's the backbone of the whole thing. It
100%
perfectly explains the mutant drama. Like what is the mutant going through at any point? It sets the whole thing up. So in a lot of ways, I agree. I think that McKellum and Fassbender both give us more relatable characters in many ways than do either of our Professor X's, who I enjoy, both of them, but they're somehow less relatable than Fassbender and McKellum.
They are, and it's because it's hard to put yourself in a position of a character who always takes the moral high ground. Some of those characters are my favorites. Like, I love Steve Rogers. I love Jon Snow. These are characters who rarely are morally compromised in any way. But I also love these gray area characters that make decisions that aren't right, but you get it because it's almost what you feel that you would do.
But it comes down to backstory. And a couple of the characters that you just identified have a really great backstory where they've overcome a certain level of trauma to become who they are, and then they start to take the moral high ground. In neither of the First Class or the original X-Men film by Singer do they set up Professor X with any kind of backstory that lets us really understand why the moral high ground is where he now needs to be. We kind of just have to assume that we know who he is and why he's doing this, but I think it makes him as a character less effective, especially when you compare him to these two performances and these two portrayals of Magneto.
It's super fleshed out.
Yeah. So great pick. It was on my list, and so you snaked that one from me. But I think you also kind of left the door open for me to take a couple really good ones.
There's at least two that I'm scared you're going to take.
There's a what?
There's at least two I'm scared you're going to take.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that this next one is in there. I think it's going to be really hard to top this guy. I'm going with Hannibal Lecter, as portrayed by Anthony Hopkins. That's right. this is a great pick. I mean, there's very few villains that actually like scared the crap out of every single American for a while. And if you go back and watch even Brian Cox's version of him, pretty damn good in Manhunter. Have you seen Manhunter? I don't remember if we. Yeah. His Brian Cox's Hannibal Lecter is pretty dang good too. But talk about a career-defining performance that we talked about earlier with Christoph Waltz. Anthony Hopkins was, for the most part, not particularly well known in the U.S.
really
until this role, and has had 40-year career, like second career, not quite 40, maybe 30-year second career since this movie came out. He's so amazing. It's pitch perfect. And even some of the not quite as good follow-ups where he continues to portray Hannibal Lecter, he particularly is so good in those films, even though the overall films aren't up to the Jonathan Demme Silence of the Lambs, that I think we've got to put him in there. I think he kind of, like, his lines have just become part of the vernacular, that people just quote when they want to be creepy and all, hello Clarice, and just all this sort of stuff,
it's a phenomenal performance,
and fava beans and everything else that he brings together. I mean, this particular villain's performance scared the crap out of me, and somehow despite everything else, he manages to make you root for him. Like, this is someone who is referred to as Hannibal the Cannibal throughout the stories, and Anthony Hopkins makes you kind of be rooting for him in that final sequence, especially when he calls Clarice to let her know that he's not going to be hunting her down, and he's meeting an old friend for dinner. You kind of are like, yeah, that a boy, go get him.
No, I know, it's good.
It's kind of creepy how he turns the audience in his favor, but I think that this is a choice that it's kind of an obvious one. You think you left the door open for me here again.
I'll give you that, absolutely. Here's my question to you. Do you feel that pick is as strong when you take into account his other appearances as the character, as in like the sequel and then other cameos?
Yeah, I mean, I think that his performance has continued to be really strong, even though those movies. So he did two others, right?
He at least, yeah. Hannibal.
I'm pretty sure it was two. Hannibal, and then they went back and did Red Dragon, which was Manhunter the first time, but the book was called Red Dragon. Yeah. I actually think Red Dragon is a better film than most people give it credit for.
Do you think it's better than Manhunter?
It's tough. I think that what Michael Mann does in Manhunter is pretty great. I think there's something about having Anthony Hopkins back in that role. It's such a good story. In many ways, I think it's a better book than Silence of the Lambs, having read the books. I think that Red Dragon is a little bit better of a novel, and so I really appreciated them coming back to it and getting a chance to see it and sort of having it remade. I see them as both good films. Manhunter is probably a better film. I'm sure for some people it's not a probably, it's a for sure.
Yeah.
But I think in some ways Lecter's performance in Red Dragon might be a little bit better than Cox's performance in Manhunter, while I think other things outperform. I don't know though. I mean, I really think that Ralph Fiennes is really great.
I mean, I'll just tell you right now, I think I prefer Red Dragon.
Okay, fair enough. I think that opinion is likely in the minority, and I'm a little on the fence, but I like them both. I think they're great films. I think the pacing is a little bit better in Red Dragon. I think there's some really great performances across the board. Philip Seymour Hoffman is so good in this. And in hindsight, knowing that it's Stephen Lang, our favorite villain from Avatar.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, maybe that's on your list. But anyway, he's a good villain from Avatar. As the reporter, he's just nowhere near as smarmy as what Philip Seymour Hoffman brings to that role. So I don't disagree with you. I think Red Dragon is totally underrated as a film.
Yeah, it is. And Hannibal's a great pick. I'll give it to you. What's your 17?
Okay, now this is when it starts to get a little tricky.
All right.
I think.
I agree.
I'm kind of on the fence between two. Oh yeah, this is tough. I get one more after this. I get
one.
20?
Yeah, you get one more after this.
Okay. I'm gonna roll the dice. This almost made my first round, but I didn't go with this individual. And now, interestingly enough, he's on the border of not making my second round. But I'm gonna go with Tony Soprano.
Okay.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping
not
with
mad,
my
not
with
mad
my
at
love
all.
of the. What's that?
Not mad at all.
Not yeah. But I also have a feeling I could have probably saved Tony for 20.
You could have.
Because I don't think it would have been on your list. So maybe a misstep on my part. But I don't think that you're just a little young. And I don't think to have gone through The Sopranos when it was out. And I don't know that you've ever gone through it.
Nope.
Have you? Yeah.
No.
So you're missing out there. I think that Tony Soprano set the stage for the modern anti-hero. I think that Walter White exists because Tony Soprano exists. I think that several others do as well. And I think that what David Chase brought to television and prestige television through HBO in the form of Tony Soprano and the rest of the characters in the cast was a total game changer. And I think that Tony was another one of these villains where you hated him, but you also loved him, and you loved to hate him, and you couldn't decide if you wanted him to be redeemed or to go straight to hell. And it was constant back and forth.
Yeah.
Which really highlights just how amazing Gandolfini's performance is. Another career-defining performance. He was a peripheral character actor before this. He became a pseudo-leading man after this role. And I think he's one of the best villains ever. I know I've been on the fence about adding him to the list, but now that I have, I'm sticking with it. I'm really happy with Tony Soprano in the 17 slot in round 2.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I can't be mad at it is because I haven't seen it. So I can't even... You could have saved him. You got to know, like, if I haven't even seen something, I'm not going to take it.
I know. It was a misstep on my part as far as
secretly
the draft rules were
watched
concerned.
The Sopranos behind your back and was like plotting against you.
Well, you should have, but yeah, you're right. You're right. I could have saved it for 20. There's a couple that I could have snuck in, but I'm curious if you're in my head is in the same place. I've got 3 more at least that I'm really happy with that could go on my list. So you can't take all 3 of them.
That's true.
You can only take 2 of them.
And I'm not even sure if I will.
We'll see. But I feel like I needed to do Tony justice and give him a higher place. I couldn't put him down at 20.
Yeah.
So that's why I gave him this spot.
All right. Well, I'm struggling as well here. I've got some good picks, but I want to make sure I get the best picks.
Yeah.
So I'm weighing...
These are your last 2, and in no particular order, you can own these.
Yeah. I'm weighing all the different options here for different reasonings. I think... Okay. In 18... I'm going to pick a classic villain, in my opinion. Okay. I mean, you could argue on the goofier side, but I really enjoy this performance. And I'm going to take...
Coyote?
I'm going to take Agent Smith from The Matrix.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah. Good one. That's a good pick. I like that one. Wasn't on my list, but I got to applaud. He should have been. This is the second one that you've snuck in that I should have had on my list and I didn't.
Sounds like I just
Good.
know ball.
Agent Smith.
No, I mean, here's the thing. Incredible performance. Similar to some characters we were talking about earlier, kind of just a force of nature similarly, just always there, unkillable, and a really good antagonist to bounce off of our protagonist, Neo.
Yeah.
He really makes the character in a lot of ways. He draws what's necessary out of Neo from a good villain. And I think he does all of these things. He's also a physical force to be reckoned with all the kung fu and all these different things. And I just love...
Do you know kung fu?
I just love the performance from... I just had his name until Hugo Weaving. You threw me off there a little bit. But I'm completely happy with this choice. I thought he would be on your list. I'm surprised he's not. We both love The Matrix.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think this is an absolute banger of a pick, and I'm happy I got him.
A villain so good that in some ways it ruins his performance as Elrond to me because
you just see Agent Smith.
I struggle to see him as someone good. You know, because he's just so bad. And
sometimes he makes some faces in The Lord of the Rings where I'm like, are you pure or are you about to morph and start shooting everybody? It's hard to tell right now, you know? Yeah. So I agree with you there.
Good call.
Here's where I'm struggling a little more is I have a few different options. I have 3 more names. Well, I have 4 more names on my list. One of them is more of a joke than anything. But I have 3 more legitimate names on my list. And I'm struggling a little bit here. But I think I have to do this just for myself. And this is kind of
this is your last pick.
This is my last pick.
This is your last pick. You know that, right?
This is what's come against me a little bit on some other drafts we've done. But ultimately, you know, I got to be true to myself. I mean,
you're taking a generational dive.
Well, I'll just give you a little bit of a hint here and tell you that I have yet to put a villain from 2 of my favorite franchises, arguably maybe my 2 favorite franchises on this list. I'm missing villains from each of them.
And
one
that of them is really clear to me, and the other, well, the other 2 are there on the list. They just both belong to me, I think. Am I right?
Are you right? Well, you have one of them from one franchise.
Okay.
The 2 franchises, the 2 franchises being Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. So,
well, you said from 3 favorite franchises, I thought.
No, I said 2.
Okay. Yes. So those are your 2. Yes, I got it.
Regardless,
I have one from one. I was thinking you were also talking about the Star Wars universe, and I have Vader.
You have Vader, yes. You have Vader. I think ultimately the reason I'm picking one over the other is I think one is a more clear-cut villain. And so for that reason, I'm going to be taking, as the 19th pick, He Who Must Not Be Named, you know who, Lord Voldemort in the 19. I think it'd be kind of strange to have 20 villains on a list and not have Voldemort on there.
Yeah.
I will say, better in the book, for sure, but I think Ralph Fiennes gives a phenomenal and chilling performance as Voldemort. Absolutely. He even brings something to it that isn't in the books. We see it right away in the Goblet of Fire when he's resurrected. Right off the bat, you can't take your eyes off Voldemort. He's creepy and menacing. Even just the way he puts his bare foot on Cedric Diggory's face is just disgusting. You feel his power.
When a foot so creepy it ought to be in a Tarantino film.
Yeah, seriously. Absolutely. Tarantino, that's his favorite scene in the Harry Potter franchise. You didn't know?
I'm sure it is.
Right behind when Ginny ties Harry's shoes. He's like, just a little tease there. He's like, oh no, take the shoe off.
But some Tarantino soft porn.
Yeah, but I had to take Voldemort. He is menacing. Ralph Fiennes' incredible performance. He obviously has a number of kills that just hurt, and he is obviously behind the death of many more characters. He is a force against Harry. Obviously, he's a presence in every single story, and he is on screen in about half of them, if not more. And he's even better as his backstory becomes revealed, right? As you start to dive into what makes Voldemort tick, why is he the way that he is? And I just really, similar to how I said Agent Smith was exactly what Neo needed, Voldemort is a perfect antagonist to both Dumbledore and Harry. I really love him And we have the possession scene. We have his duel with Dumbledore. We have the scene, sorry, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen Harry Potter. We have when he even kills Harry, when he tries to Imperius him, when he does the torture curse. It's just nonstop. And maybe one of the more underrated scenes is when he kills the Muggle studies teacher and then feeds her to his snake. Just like really crazy stuff. I think ultimately what it comes down to is the performance from Ralph Fiennes. It's phenomenal.
I agree. It's an amazing performance. It bothers me when I hear Potterheads, dog on it because of the performance. I get that it can't live up to the book. I understand that. Or the books.
But that's not the actor's fault.
But I think that Fiennes does so much with what he's given and really fulfills how terrifying Voldemort is in the books in a pretty dang amazing way. It's a great choice. I have to say it's not who I thought you were going to take in that 19 slot. I had actually already written down who I thought you were going to take, and then I had to erase it.
Do you care to share?
Yeah, because I'm not going to take this, and so this is going to fall short. I was certain it was going to be Sauron.
And I would have actually taken Gollum.
Ahead of Sauron. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think...
Despite your ultimately he's a hero kind of grief you gave me about Snape?
You mean Gollum's a hero because he accidentally destroyed the One Ring?
No, I think that Peter Jackson goes out of his way to make us believe on some subconscious level that Gollum is the protagonist of Lord of the Rings.
No, there's definitely a clear-cut moment in the franchise where there's a pivotal decision that draws Gollum back out from within Sméagol, right? There's definitely a point in the films where it is simply Sméagol, and he actually has this loyalty about him to Frodo. But there's a clear-cut moment where Gollum comes back and takes over again, and he is then the villain moving forward. So, but I think because there is the back and forth initially, I think that's why I ultimately went with Voldemort, who is a much more clear-cut villain throughout.
So do you see Gollum and Sméagol as two distinct characters?
I mean, for the sake of this, I would say no, but in viewing, yes. Like, I think the performance is phenomenal enough to the point where you actually, and also how the camera work is done, where it really does feel like two characters. I would say I wouldn't distinguish between them. Like, I wouldn't really distinguish between Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith and Darth Vader. Like, I mean, I kind of would, I guess, but it's like, it's the same character,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you brought up the way that it's edited and shot. For me, it's one of the weaker points of Lord of the Rings.
Which is hilarious.
I know a lot of people were going to disagree with me on that.
Because that's like a hilariously bad take. Are you rage baiting?
Are you looking for
clips right now? Because that is BS.
I'm telling you the truth. I've never liked that. This is a film that is shot so cinematically and so like sort of epically that to me, when we start cutting back and forth, like the two different angles and the character looking back and forth or talking with his reflection in the water, it takes me out of it a bit. But
so do you prefer when it's shot like statically and we just see him switching up?
Yeah.
I think both work equally effectively.
I think that there are stylistic choices that a director and a cinematographer and an editor and the three in tandem can make that work in certain genres and don't work in other genres. And for me, this falls at least on the border of crossing that line, if not crossing it altogether. So,
yeah, I call bullshit.
Anyway, we're
horrible take. Horrendous take, but okay.
I don't think it works. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think it works. Okay, you've left me with the last pick.
You still have all three.
I'm pretty confident about this. I'm looking at my list. I still have 7 plus this one. So a total of 8 on my list that I have not.
I have 2
picked. So I'm gonna be left with 7.
Are we gonna have to do a part 3?
I don't know. We'll see. We could always do a part 3 in a month or two, if necessary. We'll see what kind of feedback we get on this episode. Okay, I'm gonna go with a villain from a great epic period piece that won Best Picture. I'm gonna go with Commodus.
Yep.
From Gladiator.
That's a great pick. He was on my list initially. I'll tell you that.
I think that Joaquin Phoenix is so, like, he just makes your skin crawl. His performance makes your skin crawl in this film.
Well, anything incesty will make your skin crawl.
Yeah, but and of course there's that, but then you just his whole, the jealousy he has toward Maximus, just everything about it. The way he deals with the Senate, it's just every word out of that character's mouth makes you hate him and want him to die more and more and more. And
because he's pathetic.
Yeah, and it's like the character wants you to try and relate to him, and you just can't in any way at all. I know that kind of flies in the face of my theories about a great villain. I think academically you can understand what his motivation is, even though you realize that he's a psychopath and you don't agree with him at all. But spoilers here if you haven't seen Gladiator, for goodness sake. Between the way he kills his father to the way he treats his nephew and his sister, even just the lack of sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Stabbing Maximus before the fight. It's just, he's so bad. I really feel, and this is such a great film that's just, it's so thoroughly rewatchable over and over and over again. And so I really feel like we need to we squeeze that in. I don't think we have. Do we have any other Ridley Scott villains in here?
I thought at one point about doing the Xenomorph. I wasn't sure. As a villain, I wasn't sure how well that would fit.
That would have been an interesting choice. Yeah, it would have been an interesting choice. Yeah, as I look over this list, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we don't have a single other Ridley Scott villain, and he's put some good ones up there. But yeah, Commodus, I think that's a good way to round out our 20.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It definitely is. I will give you that. And I think we should go over some...
You don't sound convinced at all.
No, I think it is a good pick. I think I ultimately maybe came through with a better list here this time. I'm pretty proud of my list, if I'm being honest.
All right. You want to run through your 5?
Yeah, sure, I will. Let's quickly hit a few honorable mentions, not really dive into
honorable
why.
Mentions? Okay, all right.
I can hit you with mine real quick because there's only a few. I almost put Penguin on this list.
Interesting, yeah.
Colin Farrell's performance in The Batman and then the Penguin TV show is, I think, phenomenal. And especially if you've seen the TV show. Have you, by the way? Did you watch the TV show?
Yeah.
Especially by the time that ends, you kind of just hate this guy's guts. To avoid spoilers, because this is rather new, I'd say. The way he ultimately handles the people who have been loyal to him. I mean, it's really disgusting. So he almost made my list. I think it's a phenomenal performance.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
And then my last two are more so jokes than anything. And
they're jokes?
Yeah, I kind of just thought of them on the spot here because I thought they were pretty funny. One of them being D'Angelo from The Office. Will Ferrell's character, I think, is just so horribly annoying as soon as Michael leaves. He takes over for Michael when Michael is gone. And it's
what's his last name? D'Angelo?
I don't know. I can't remember.
But I know what you mean.
But I just thought that one was rather funny. But honestly, if there is a bigger villain in The Office, it's Charles Minor, played by Idris Elba.
He's a true villain. Yeah, from Office,
which is
standards.
hilarious.
Would you call Jan though a villain?
Who? Oh yeah,
Jan.
Yeah, I would. So, and I think she'd be right up there. So she'd be the third one.
Yeah, I think actually I might put her as the number one villain.
Yeah, she escaped my mind, but I think you're right. She's definitely over D'Angelo, and she's probably over Charles Minor because she appears much more. And what's hilarious about Charles Minor is he's actually just like a completely normal person, but that makes him a villain in The Office because he's not like Michael Scott, you know?
It does.
So that's really what it comes down to there. But those are my only honorable
Great performance, though, by Will Ferrell in that.
Hilarious.
Wait, I thought you said you had a second funny one.
No, it was Charles Minor.
Oh, Charles Minor was the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I've got a number of them. Okay, I'm going to start with, I'm pretty sure that we said a few of these before, so I'm not going to take credit for them, but I think that in our previous honorable mentions, we said Loki, Cersei Lannister, and Killmonger.
Yep.
Were all on that list. So they were still on my list, and they almost made it, but they didn't. I do have four other honorables. First, and this one really came close to making my list, was Homelander from The Boys.
Okay.
Just at times makes it so that I can't actually even watch the show. Like, he's just so terrible that it's kind of similar to Negan in some ways at times with The Walking Dead for a little while, where I have to look away. Like, there's only so much of that show that I can watch before I have to stop myself and just go like, Homelander is so disgusting of a character that it really hurts. So he could have easily made my list. I also had going back to the idea of Disney villains. I had Ursula the Sea Witch.
Yep.
I think a really fantastic villain, a character that, from my perspective, totally steals The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Is far and away the best part of The Little Mermaid, and as also portrayed on the stage by your sister.
Yep.
And just a great overall villain. I also had one more. I'm just going to go with one more here. And this is a little bit more of a classic. It's a classic spaghetti Western villain. I'm going to go with Angel Eyes from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think that Lee Van Cleef's villain in that is just so amazing. You just really see how evil the man is in that opening sequence and how he's introduced. Love Lee Van Cleef as Angel Eyes in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So those were my honorables.
Yeah, fair enough. And actually, I'll throw one more out there for Disney villains because this one was on my animated list. And I think a severely underrated villain is from Tangled. Mother Gothel is rather horrible to her adopted daughter. Biggest gaslighter maybe in anything ever. She's the worst. So that would be my last honorable mention. But I think we have some pretty good lists here. I'll run through them real quick.
Yeah, you're going to just do your most recent five?
Yeah, I'll run through my recent five. You run through yours. I'm not really going to break down why, because we already did. So I have John Doe from Seven, Amy Dunn from Gone Girl, Magneto from the entire X-Men franchise, Agent Smith.
You started, by the way, with two. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You started with two Fincher villains.
Yeah, two Fincher.
In a row, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so John Doe and Amy Dunn, and then I interrupted you.
No, you're good. John Doe, Amy Dunn, Magneto in the third from all the X-Men movies, Agent Smith from The Matrix, and Lord Voldemort, a character so menacing, he who must not be named. Can't even say his name.
Yeah, you're not even supposed to say his name.
I'm going to have to bleep that out.
You lose points for that.
I'm going to bleep it out.
Okay, I had Hans Lander from Inglourious Bastard, Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men, Hannibal Lecter, The Silence of the Lambs, Tony Soprano of The Sopranos, and Commodus from Gladiator. Ooh, pretty tough. I mean, there's not I don't falter there. That's 5 for 5, baby.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I think we both went 5 for 5 on that one, if I'm being honest.
Iconic performances.
I think I put up a great 5 and you put up an almost as great 5.
We'll see. So I think what we should do is post the full list, your 10, my 10, side by side, see if we can get a little vote going on IG.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
All right, yeah. So we ranked and we debated. We disagreed, though not about who shot first. That one's obvious. It's all just another day in the galaxy.
So whether you're Gen X, Gen Z, or somewhere lost in the timeline, please continue to listen, like, share, and subscribe to I Am Your Father.
Until the next episode, remember, there with great power comes a great second breakfast, but winter is also coming. So may the Force live long and prosper with you.
Why did it have to be snakes? Peace.
We'll see you guys next time.